Hey, you guys. I don't know. Okay, we're gonna try this. Okay, as always, I'd love it if somebody was listening to me at this point, if you could tell me if I am horizontal or vertical. Can you please write something in the chat? Let's see. Is that gonna work? There we go. Hey Keith, am I horizontal? Okay, great, awesome, thank you so much. Yay, and let's see. I think that should work. Thank you all for joining me. We'll get started in about 10 minutes. Just testing. All right. If you're listening, I will get started teaching in about 10 minutes, so that gives you time to put on some gentle music, grab a block or two, a strap, and maybe a blanket. And I'll see you in a few. Hey everybody. We still have a couple minutes until we officially get started, but I love using this time just to have a little interaction with you. Excuse me. My name is Elise and I'm in Denver, and I'm wondering where you are and what's your name. Thank you so much for joining us here on Yoga Download. If you'd like, please put in the chat where you are viewing from. I know it's Friday afternoon for me, Saturday morning for those of you in Australia area. Let's see, we've had somebody from, hi Elizabeth, nice to see you again. Sunny California. We had somebody last week and the week before from Tobago. Are you still on here? Sorry, I forgot your name. What a community that Yoga Download creates. It's always such an honor to be able to teach, to be able to connect. Pocono Mountains, I hope I said that right. Susie from the Pocono Mountains. Wherever that is, it sounds beautiful. Who else is here with us? So if you were here with me last week, you may remember my dog Pippa. She's on the couch here, you can't see her. Hi, Denver Tech Center, right down the road. Hi, Patricia. Yeah, and another from, oh, hi, Karen, Fort Collins. Yay, such a dedicated student. Thanks for being here. So last week, the Pennsylvania, oh my goodness, Pennsylvania, awesome. Last week, the mailman came right at this time and Pippa threw a little fit, protecting all of us. This week, I have my neighbors playing outside right here for probably the first time that I can remember. Very sweet little girls who are very noisy. So we may hear that. Pippa may get a little alarmed. Are you gonna be okay with that? Are you gonna help do some yoga? Do you wanna come here and say hi to everybody before we start? Come here. For those of you who haven't met her, this is my one true love, and she's my yoga teacher. She does down dog, up dog, and she naps like the best of them. You want to go back to your nap? You think you can be quiet during the next 45 minutes? She apologizes in advance if she starts barking. Okay, let's go back to nap time. Shavasana about 20 hours a day for this girl. Okay, we still have a minute or two. So I saw Pennsylvania and Colorado and California. Who else? Where are you watching from? It looks like we've got 15 people here. Oh, Katie. My old friend Katie, who I met in Colorado, but now lives in my hometown in Oregon. Awesome, Katie. Thanks for being here. So also while we're waiting, I am taking requests for next week. So if you're able to join me next week and you have something that you're particularly wanting to do, a part of the body you want to work on, maybe you want to try a little more yin or a little more hatha or a little more vinyasa, let me know in the chat. Or you can always find me on Instagram, Facebook, or through my website, elisefabricant.com. All right. So let's get started. If you just joined, my name's Elise. I'm here in Denver. It's always my pleasure and honor to teach for Yoga Download. I have about 73 classes on Yoga Download. And I just got a little question there from Katie. I do not use music, so this is a great time to go set up some nice yoga music for yourself. Also for today's class, we'll be using block or two. So if you have such a thing as a block or two, go ahead and grab them. Maybe a strap and maybe something soft. So I just grabbed a dish towel. That's the red dish towel back there. And that's just if you have sensitive knees, not imperative. So if you have blocks, a strap, dish towel, and you could put on music. Today's class will be working with the hips. We'll be taking a trip around the hips. So frontal hip flexors, outer hips, hamstrings, and inner thighs. We'll be taking this trip around the hips, and in yoga philosophy, the hips are known to be the storehouse of emotion. Has anyone else had a lot of emotions recently? You can chime in the chat. Oh yeah. I have had a lot of emotions in the last couple of months. And what I really believe is that we have to feel the emotions in order to heal them. You gotta feel it to heal it. One of the ways to feel the emotions and not suppress them is to work them out through this deep hip work. So don't be surprised if you start to feel some stuff come up, and just know that you're doing what you need to move through it, to cleanse it, rather than shoving it under the rug where it's going to come up and trip you some other time. Okay? All right, so you've got your music, you've got your blocks, you've got your strap, or dog leash, or a man's tie, or anything else like that. Maybe a dish towel or a towel. And we will start in child's pose. So I'm going to crawl on back to my mat. Also, I should tell you that I'm feeling quite under the weather, so I may take a few breaks here and there to grab a little tea. You are always welcome to take breaks whenever you need. In fact, whenever you need a break, you may want to come into child's pose, and we'll all start there right now. So just let your hips settle back towards your heels. Let your forehead touch down right at your third eye area. And then you could keep a soft bend through the elbows, or you can walk your arms out straighter, whatever works for you. Today's class will be focusing on the hip region and not worrying so much about the upper body. But just like the fact that you have permission to slow down, modify, take breaks anytime, you also have permission to up level, to add in stretches, to go to a more advanced posture if you need. So we'll take about 3 more breaths right here, nice, long, smooth breath. And just like last week, let's practice emphasizing the exhalation. So long, calm inhalation, and then smooth, long exhalation. Let it all out. Each time you exhale, allow your hips to get a little heavier to your heels, your belly to soften between your thighs. Let's do one more time like that. And again, you're always welcome to come back to child's pose at any point. Good. From child's pose, we'll come into downward facing dog. So stretch your arms out, spread your fingers wide, tuck your toes underneath, and lift your hips. Push the floor away from you with the hands as you draw your hips back, deepening the crease of the hips, blossoming the buttocks up to the sky. And then because our emphasis today is also on the hamstrings, let's bend the right knee deeply and stretch back through the left leg. Big breath here. And then switch it out. Bend the left knee as you stretch the right long leg back. Good. Straighten both legs. Lift the hips a little higher as you drop the heels a little bit lower. And then rock forward into plank pose. We're only here for just a moment. It doesn't have to be the best plank pose ever. And then drop to your knees. Hug your elbows into your rib cage and lower down slowly. Preparing for cobra pose, I'm just going to push some stuff out of my way. Untuck your toes. Keep your hands down by your shoulders. Roll the shoulders back. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, lower down slowly with control. We'll do that 2 more times. The inhale will lift you up into Bhujangasana. Exhale, lower down, resisting gravity. 1 more time up. And 1 more time down. Now go ahead and prop yourself up on one elbow. It doesn't matter which one you start with. Take the other arm, reach back, and clasp your foot. Then square the shoulders towards the short end of the mat. Draw your tailbone heavy to the ground. Glue the knee down really hard to the earth, and then start to encourage your heel towards your hip and actually out towards your outer hip a little bit more. Try not to sink into the shoulders the way I have been, but instead press into the elbow and lift the heart. Let's take 2 more breaths. And then we'll switch. Release the foot. One elbow comes down as the other arm reaches back. Now to find that nice lengthening stretch through the quad, drop your tailbone down. This is a posterior tilt of the pelvis. I think we worked on that last week or the week before. And then glue your knee down as well and start to encourage that heel to the outer hip. Square the shoulders, lift the heart. 2 more breaths. Release. Hands come down. Let's press back into child's pose. Take your time. One long soothing breath here as the forehead touches the earth. Then tuck the toes underneath and lift the hips. Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward dog. Now, the next sequence can be done here in downward facing dog, or if this is too much for your shoulders, you can also drop down to your knees. Whether you're on your knees or in down dog, lift the right leg up and back. Then bend the knee, and then start to make big circles with the knee. So the right knee is making circles, whether you're on your foot or on your knee. Doesn't matter, just do what's best for you. Reverse the direction of the circles. Starting to lubricate that ball and socket joint of the hip. And then whether you're on your knee or you're in down dog, let's step the right foot forward. Let's step the right knee forward for pigeon pose. So the knee comes wide to the right side of the mat and the shin drapes down. You can untuck your back toes and then let's walk the fingers wide, bending the elbows and rolling the shoulders back. Take a deep breath in, and just like our cobra flow with the exhalation, lower chest towards the earth. Inhale, lead with the back of the heart as you come up, making this your spanda, your dance. Exhale, forward. Inhale, up, big breath into the outer right hip. Exhale, down. And then hands come down. Let's take that right leg back into down dog or into all fours. Other side, whether you're in all fours or in down dog, lift the left leg up. Bend the knee, and then start to circle out the knee. Big circles with the knee. Lubricating the hip joint with synovial fluid. Another little rhyme I like is, the motion is the lotion. Switch directions. So cheesy, I know. Switch directions with the knee circles. And then let's bring the knee wide and out to the left. Again, set up the hands, open the heart, inhale, lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, open the heart. Exhale, surrender. Inhale, we're cleaning out the storehouse of emotions. Exhale, feel it to heal it. Yeah, all right. Hands come down, let's step back into downward facing dog or all fours. Big breath in, full breath out. Now we'll step right foot forward into lunge. Take your time. Come up onto your fingertips so that you can lift your heart a little bit higher than lift your belly up away from your thigh. And then, if you've got your blocks, you might want to bring them underneath your hands. Because from lunge pose, we're going to just back the hips up until both legs are straight. This is like a half monkey pose, Ardha Hanumanasana. Pull your toes back towards your shin and plug the heel into the earth. Now moving between those poses, with the inhalation, come to lunge. With the exhalation, pull back and fold forward just a little bit. 2 more times. Yeah, hopefully you feel a nice stretch there, but it's not too much. Now we'll come forward. You could set the blocks aside. Release the back knee to the ground. Now, if you're like me and you need a little extra padding, you can grab a little towel or roll up your mat. From here, left hand comes out a little bit so we can reach the right arm up, reach back, clasp the foot. I know some of you might not be able to get the foot. If you don't, no big deal. We're only here for a couple breaths. If you do have the foot, roll the shoulders back, lift the heart, create a little twist through the upper body, and that beautiful quad stretch for 3, 2, 1, release. Back to all fours or downward facing dog. Take your time. Stepping left foot forward for that same sequence. Arrive in a lunge. If you've got blocks, you can bring them under your hands. If not, don't worry about it. Find your breath. With the inhalation, lengthen from heel to heart. Exhale, pull it back. So as I pull back, both legs straighten, I'm going to peel my left toes up off the ground and push the heel in. Let's move with the breath. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, half Hanumanasana. Inhale, the heart stretches forward. Exhale, we can kind of bow the heart down. One more time through each pose. Waking up the hamstrings, waking up the frontal hip flexors. Now the right knee will come down. Right hand to the earth. Open the left arm up and back. Clasp the foot if you can. Roll shoulders back, create a little twist, and then big breath into that right frontal quad area. Good. Release. Let's step back into downward facing dog. So everyone join me in down dog. Then this time in down dog, make yourself pigeon-toed so your toes are in and your heels are out. Continue to push the floor away from you with the hands, and now with the toes in and the heels out, feel your sit bones spread. Maybe, hopefully, a little bit more stretch through the outer hips, yeah? Now keep your left foot as it is, parallel the right foot, which means the heel will come to the left, the toes point to the right. You're going to push your weight over to the left. Now we'll just essentially windshield wiper the feet so the heels lift. They'll both come over to the right. Push your weight over to the right. Bring the feet back to center, and then step or lightly hop feet up to hands. Take your feet wide, turn the toes out, and let's come into a bit of a squat. So we're opening up the inner thighs, the adductors. The elbows can come to the inside of the thighs. If you'd like, and you've got a block, you can just sit right there. I like to sway a little side to side in my squat. And then we'll come to standing. So what I'd like you to do is really push your feet into the earth. Take a deep breath in, and with the exhalation, without using your hands, push into the ground so you can rise all the way to star pose. Open up through the arms, reach for the fingertips, take up space. And then palms to heart. Parallel the feet, toes right in front of the heels, close down your eyes. Find your breath. Good. I'm going to take a little water break. For those of you who came in maybe a little late, I'm not feeling so well today, so I'm just taking it kind of easy. You're welcome to also. And then when you're ready, let's come to standing facing the long part of the mat, and you might want your blocks, let's say over to the left. So take a really nice long stance on your mat. And then just like you were to do Warrior Two, turn your left foot out and bend deeply through the left knee. Now, if your inner thighs are tight, you're going to notice both knees wanting to knock inwards. Let's pull the knees back so that they track over the fourth toe. Then, keeping your hips just like this, let's start to walk the arms down to the ground and then out to the corner. So I'm kind of on an angle here. With my arms and upper body, I'll be doing downward facing dog, hands to the floor or to the blocks. So just like in downward facing dog, I'm going to push the floor or the blocks away from me to lengthen the side body, lengthen the spine. And then just like in Warrior Two, I'm going to widen the left knee out to the side and then tuck my left hip under, all the while pushing the butt back. So push your butt back, tuck your left sit bone under, widen your left knee out to the side, and push the floor away from you with the hands. Oh, yeah. Whew. Good hip work here. Okay, let's come out of that. That's enough for me. If you've got a block handy, you might want to take it to the outside edge of the left foot in preparation for triangle pose. So now, Trikonasana triangle, let's straighten the left leg. We're working on lengthening the inseam of the left leg. So pull that left hip groin back and then push through the left big toe, lengthening that inner thigh. And then roll the shoulders, reach the arm. Continue to super glue the outside edge of the right foot to the ground. Breathe into the place of sensation. Yeah. All right. Coming up slowly, rebend that left knee, Warrior Two. Just for a beautiful side bend, reverse warrior, right hand down, left arm up. And then coming up slowly, between sides, let's Skandasana. So this is one of my favorite little Jedi Ninja moves to get that inner thigh stretched out. So bending one knee, straighten the other leg, pull those toes up, and then shift it side to side. You might want to have something to hold on to a little bit higher here. Breathing into that inner thigh, the hamstring, the hips, wherever you feel it the most. Pippa is passed out here in Shavasana. Such a good role model for us. Now, the next time you come forward into this side, let's set it up just like we did before. You can use blocks or not. This is like lunge, down dog. If Warrior Two and down dog had a baby, that's what this pose is. I don't know what it's called. We're going to push the hands into the blocks or the earth. Lengthen the spine, lengthen the side waist. Bend down deeply through that right knee and track the knee out wide to the fourth toe. And then push your hips back, just like you would in downward dog. Really deepen the crease in the hips. But at the same time, roll your right sit bone under, protecting and holding and squeezing. Now, can you feel the lengthening of the inner left thigh? Left outside edge of the foot grounding. Whew. It's making me lose my breath. You guys find that long, smooth breath, please. Hopefully you're not talking. And then let's come into triangle pose. You can take your block to the outside edge of the right leg. Straighten out that right leg. And then really work it. Ball of the foot grounding as you pull the right hip crease back, lengthening. and then the upper body can do its thing. We're much more concerned with the lower body today, lengthening the inseam of both legs, grounding through both feet. Shoot your hips back a little bit, lengthen through the heart. Now rotate the chest. And then come on up, warrior two. Reverse warrior pose. Straighten both legs. This time, turn your toes in slightly, pigeon toes for Prasarita Padottanasana. So this can be actually a nice one to do with a block or two. As you straighten the legs and come down through the upper body, see if you can position that block or two blocks right underneath your hairline. This can be quite calming and grounding. If your head is too far away, don't worry at all. You can bring your fingertips to the ground, your hips, the outside edges of your shins. Or if tripod headstand is in your practice, this would be a good time to go for it if you can do it really safely. Nobody's watching you. If you're here with me, with the head on the block, roll your shoulders up your back towards your butt. Tip a little further weight into the balls of the feet. Unlock your knees. Ground through the outside edges of the feet. Lengthen the spine with each breath. And then if you're in a headstand, please come down super carefully. If you're here with me, let's all just bring the hands to the hips. Push through the feet. Come up super slow with a deep inhalation. Oh, look down if you're dizzy. Rotate on your left foot and come into a lunge. So let's see, I'm going to just take my blocks over to the side. I don't know when we'll need them again. Here we're going to bring the knee down again. So you may want to pad the back knee. And now I like to back the hips up right over the knee. It's a different stretch for the frontal hip flexor. Then I'll put my left elbow on my left thigh and really give it some weight so that I can lift my right foot up for another little quad stretch. Then try to rotate belly button to the left, lift up through the heart, square the shoulders, and just like before, encourage your heel towards the outer hip. Good. Hands come down. Tuck your back toes under. And then you can just step right foot forward, left foot back, or you can join me for a jump switch. It's pretty much the most energetic thing I'm doing today. Go ahead and pad that back knee if you'd like. Take some time to back your hips up so they're right above the left knee. And then actually really ground down through the right elbow into the right thigh, and then reach back. Quad stretch, tuck the tailbone under, posterior tilt of the tailbone, but keep lifting through the heart. Release. Step right foot back and left foot forward, or jump switch. Now pyramid pose is next. So this is a great place to have a couple blocks. If you don't worry, you can do it. In pyramid pose, you may want to step your back foot forward a little bit. Really push through the ball of the front foot, and then guide that hip crease back to lengthen the hamstring, the calf, the Achilles. Then see if you can lengthen through the spine. And you may want to fold forward a little bit more than I am. I've got an old injury on this side, restricting range of motion. If you're folding forward, lengthen with the inhalation and fold with the exhalation. And if you're folding forward, come up slowly. This time I'm just going to switch slowly. Step right foot forward and left leg back. Pyramid pose. So now to lengthen the right leg, we're pushing, grounding through the ball of the front foot, and then drawing the right hip back. almost like you're trying to steer the steering wheel of your hips over to the right. And then lengthen the spine with the inhalation. Use your nice long exhalation to fold forward. Good work, everyone. Let's release. Set the blocks aside if you're using them. And then just step forward into Malasana squat pose again. Now we've done a little bit more inner thigh work, so see how that feels. Does it feel different than the first time? Maybe you could turn this into a bit of a forward fold, the traditional Malasana, by really settling the hips down, reaching the upper body forward, drop the head. Breathe. Let it all come. Let it all go. Feel it to heal it. When we shove our emotions down, they surely rear their ugly heads up again. Honor each one. Okay, from here, let's just come down onto our bottom. We'll be on the ground for most of the rest of the class, I believe. We'll start to work the outer hips again with figure 4. So let's take the right foot and flex it strongly and place it over the right knee, left knee, right foot, left knee. Now I like to start with a nice long distance between my front foot and my hips. Then I lift up through the chest. Keeping the chest lifted, you may be able to snuggle the feet and legs up a little closer or move your hips closer. Wherever you are, I want you to keep that chest bright. And then I really like to sway it a little side to side, digging into those juicy spots of the hips, using the breath. This can be a nice thing to do just while you're watching TV or talking to a friend. Let's switch sides. So in order to get out, you may need to widen that space. Release the right foot. Lift up left. Flex foot. Really keep that foot flexed. That's going to protect the knee joint. And then cross it over. Find the lift through the chest. And then maybe you can close up the gap between knee and hip. Foot and hip. And again, just like you're rocking a baby. Side to side if you choose. Coaxing and suggesting that the hips open rather than forcing or coercing. Nobody likes to be forced or coerced, right? So we're just saying hips, if you're ready, you can start to loosen your grip. Okay, release. The next pose we're coming into is one that we did last week. So if you were with me last week, you might remember Baddha Konasana. Usually we come into Baddha Konasana with the soles of the feet together, so you could try that. Or if you've got a block handy, you can put a block between your feet. Now draw your feet close up to your groin and then lift through the chest. Now you'll might notice that my knees don't come down very far, no matter how much yoga I practice, and that's okay. If your knees come down further, if your knees are closer to the ground than your hips, you could even fold forward in this pose. But if you're here with me, the knees are a little bit high, we're going to stay upright. And then no matter where you are, imagine lengthening your inner thighs out. So like the femur bones are growing out away from your hip sockets. Push feet together or push feet into the block. So if your knees are all the way down to the ground, that probably means that an external rotation is a lot easier for your particular body. An internal rotation is much easier for my body, and we'll practice that pose in just a moment that internally rotates the femur bones. Let's take two more long deep breaths here. And then release. Take the block aside if you're using it. Stretch your right leg out for Shavasana. We've been practicing this pose quite a lot in my Friday classes. So the left knee will bend, left sole of the foot comes to the right inner thigh. Then let's lift out through the chest and create a little twist, rotating torso over the straight right leg. Now I actually like to pull my right leg in like I'm shortening it into the socket, and then take left hand out, maybe to the outside edge of the foot, maybe to the ground, the shin, doesn't really matter. With the left hand, we're going to pull back, and with the right hand, we're going to push forward. That pulling and pushing action will help rotate the torso, and then you could fold a little bit. Hopefully you feel this stretch on the left lower back. Continue to roll your belly button to the right and drop your left hip heavy. One more deep breath. Exhale, let it fold in a little bit further, and then with the inhalation, rise. Now your left knee is already bent, so we're just going to take the right knee over the left for Gomukhasana or cow-faced legs. Now, if you're like me and the knee is way far away, one little trick is to bring the hands forward. Lift the hips. With the hips lifted, the knees can slide together, and now the tricky part is to just start to ground those hips without sitting on the foot. So hopefully both hips are down. You could also sit on your block if you need. And then the right knee is stacked on top of the left. Let's take the left arm up, pat ourselves on the back, right hand to left elbow. Push the left elbow into the right hand. Little tricep stretch here. And then release right hand to the earth and stretch your left arm up and overhead, taking a side bend to the right. Really anchor down through that left hip to stretch and open the left side psoas area, the left side low back, side waist. And then come up. Joyfully unwind those legs. Oh. Stretch left leg out and right leg in. So right knee folds in for Shavasana. Shorten the left leg. Rotate your torso. Right hand comes to the outside edge of the foot, the shin, wherever. You're going to start to pull on something with the right hand and push the floor away from you with the left. Draw your navel up and in, and then rotate your torso and belly button over the left leg, and then just start to fold. Use your breath. Hopefully you're feeling a nice deep stretch to the right side, little back, left side hamstring area. Let's come up slowly and then come into our cow-faced legs. So taking the left knee on top, I'm going to do that same little trick here, bringing the fingers forward, lift the hips, slide the knees together, and then nestle those hips down. Try not to sit on the bottom foot. Oh. If you're like me and feel some deep cramping through the frontal hip flexors, you could even take your hands and just start to drop them down, manually releasing the hip flexors. And then the right arm comes up, pat yourself on the back. Left hand to right elbow, push them into each other to feel the stretch through the left tricep. Left hand to the earth, reach the arm up and overhead. Side bend to the left. Make sure that right hip stays really heavy. Thank you so much for hanging in there, you guys. Let's come up and try downward facing dog. So unwind the legs, and then you can just moan and groan if you need to as you step it back. And just clear it out. Maybe you want to take some knee bends, hip shakes. Now, I was talking about the pose that internally rotates the femur bones. So let's try that, Virasana. Draw your knees together as you come up onto your toes, and then with those knees together, bring them down to the ground. From there, widen the feet, and then sit yourself back onto the ground. If your hips don't settle down fairly easily, then you can grab your blanket or your block and sit up on it. There's sun and there's rain, which means there's a rainbow out my back door, I bet. Now, as we settle into Virasana, you could actually manually roll your calf muscles out of the way. And then I like to actually push my pinky toes down into the ground so that my ankles don't sickle too much. Now, you could also take the fleshy part of the buttocks and roll it out of the way so that you feel this internal rotation of the femur bones. From here, lift up through the heart, bring one hand to your chest and one hand to your belly. Feel free to close the eyes. Tune into your physical body, your energetic body, and your emotional body. Always practicing noticing and observing without judging or criticizing. Give yourself permission to feel whatever is true for you. Now that's probably enough Virasana for many of you. So let's come up off the block if you're on it. And we'll do one last downward facing dog. Again, just to flush out the joints. Lift up and back. Feel free to move in whatever way works for you. And then step the feet forward and come down onto your bottom. Make sure you have a strap of some sort handy, and if you don't, it's fine, we can adapt. Again, I'm just going to grab a sip of water. You may also want to have your block within hands reach distance too. So let's come down onto our backs for Supta Padangusthasana, which is how I tend to like to end my practice. We'll take the strap around the ball of the right foot. Press up through the sole of the foot and pull the toes back. So now hopefully you're really feeling that stretch through the hamstring, which you've been working today. And then you can keep your left foot on the ground, or you can extend it out straight. If you've extended it out straight, really make it active. Pull those toes back towards your head as well. Oh, sorry. Oh my goodness. We got a package. Okay, hopefully you guys are still relaxed. Pippa, it's okay. Come here, baby. That's part of doing yoga at home. We get packages sometimes. Come on. Okay, here we are. Thanks for bearing with me. Come on, Pippa. Now we're going to bring both ends of the strap into the right hand. Left hand to the left hip. Now this is really important. You want to really anchor down that left hip. Then start to guide the right leg out to the side with the intention of lengthening that inner thigh once again. Turn your toes towards the earth and reach through the heel, and then lengthen the inseam of the leg by straightening the knee. Keep your left hip down, down, down. One more deep breath. Good. Come up slowly. Go ahead and just release the strap over to the left side and hug your right knee into your chest. Shift your hips over to the right a little bit for spinal twist. Right knee comes across the body. Right arm can unfurl. Lately in my twists, I've been liking to move the right arm around, stretching this pectoral area, which tends to get so tight as I do all my computer work. So you could try that if you'd like. Notice how the twist feels now that you've really opened up the fascia and muscles of the outer right hip. draw that knee across center, square your hips to the earth again. Where's that shrub? Let's take it around the ball. Start with the right foot on the ground, or you could extend that leg. I'm going to keep it down on the ground this time. Pull the toes back towards your head. Take a few breaths into the back compartment of the left leg first. And then transfer both ends of the strap into the left hand, right hand to the right hip. Start to draw the leg out to the side, just enough so that you can really keep your right hip grounded and feel a stretch through the inseam of the left leg. Turn your toes down, your heel up a little bit. Straighten through the knee, take a couple more breaths. You might be a couple inches taller when you get up today. All this hamstring work. Come up slowly. Drop the strap, you won't need it again. Pull your knee up into your chest, shift the hips over to the left, and then tilt that left knee across the body. Final spinal twist. And you can just experiment with moving the arm around a little bit. It feels like I'm doing snow angels. The back of my arm is on the ground. It's working out the front of the chest. Awesome job, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Our final pose today will be a supported bridge pose. So if you have a block, you can slide it underneath your sacrum. If you don't have a block, come into bridge pose and just hold for about 3 to 5 breaths. Wherever you are, whether you're supported or working it hard, let's lengthen the exhalation a little bit longer than the inhalation. So if you take a deep breath in for the count of 4, fully exhale for the count of 6. Calming the nervous system. We're here for about 3 more of these breaths. And now if you're on the block, you'll just need to lift the hips up, slide the block out from underneath. And then everyone, be really conscious and careful as you slowly roll your mid-back, low back, and pelvis back to the earth. From there, keep your pelvis right where it landed. Extend your legs out for final relaxation, Shavasana. Arms by your sides, palms up, soft floppy legs. And now you don't have to worry about the breath at all. Just let it be light, free, effortless. We have a couple more minutes of our class, so you can stay right here in Shavasana, or if it feels more comfortable, you could also join me in more of a seated meditation. Wherever you are, seated meditation or Shavasana, give yourself this time. There's no rush. Allow, receive, relax, and renew. Thank you so much for practicing here on Yoga Download. I'm especially grateful for this online format on days like this when I feel under the weather and wouldn't be able to go teach in a studio. And I love the power of the internet, how it all connects us all. If you feel so inclined, there's a donate button on the YouTube page or probably in the comments underneath this video. And if you do choose to donate, I receive all of that money, which is very needed for me right now since I've lost most of my work during this pandemic. So even just a few dollars goes a long way, and I really appreciate it. The other thing I'm excited to talk to you about for just a moment is that as a wellness coach, I am launching a brand new program that's only 30 days of direct one-on-one coaching with me, specifically geared around this crazy time we're in and how to turn the fear and anxiety that we may have been feeling and process it and feel it and heal it and then move forward with more freedom and power. This program launches today and is open just for 1 month. So if you're interested in finding out if this is a good move for you, which it probably is, but we could definitely chat about it. So you can message me on Instagram or Facebook or find me on my website, elisefabricant.com. Hope to see you again next week. Pippa and I will be here in the living room in Denver. Please share this with your friends and family. It's a great thing to do together. And again, I'd be happy to take any requests for next week too. Awesome job, everyone. Namaste. See you next week.